Good morning to you folks. Sports Degenerate here, coming to you from the great outdoors. This is your Fantasy Sports Morning Report. You know, on the cusp of the NFL Fantasy Draft, everyone has a lot of questions on their mind. Did you gather enough information? Well, one tool that can really help you is to log on to fantasysportsweather.com, go to their NFL section, and get the information you need to help dominate your league, whether it's head-to-head or whether it's rotisserie. Well, since we're talking about the NFL, let's talk about a tale of two Bryans. Dez Bryant on one side, Antonio Bryant on the other. Dez Bryant is the Cowboys' hopeful rookie sensation who's overcome injury and looks like he will be ready for the first game of the season. But Antonio Bryant got cut by the Bengals before the first kickoff of the season. Well, that's hard to believe. They paid him $8 million guaranteed, and all he had to do was hang out at camp for a couple weeks. What a deal. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, Ben Roethlisberger looks fantastic, but you know, he's in mandatory timeout for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. He's actually meeting with the NFL commissioner today to discuss whether or not that's going to be 4 or 6 weeks. But Tomlin is the one who has his work cut out for him, and so do fantasy owners, when you try and find out, if you want Roethlisberger, who's going to be your quarterback for the first month to month and a half. Well, Dennis Dixon to me is the front runner. Leftwich has pretty much been left out because he's been playing terribly in preseason. And even Charlie Batch looks better than Leftwich, but you have to think they're probably going to go with Dixon. All right, well, let's move on to Major League Baseball. And how about White Sox second baseman Gordon Beckham? You know, he's batting .278 during his last 10 games, and his weather stats look absolutely beautiful tonight in Cleveland against the Indians. Beckham bats .129 over his career .258 batting average with the 84 degrees forecasted for Progressive Field. Now on the flip side, a guy who has weather stats that are downright distressing is Brewers right fielder Corey Hart. He's batting .256 during his last 10 games, but he's managed 15 strikeouts during those games. The Brewers begin a 3-game set with the Cincinnati Reds, always a tough team to play, and Hart bats .099 under his career .275 batting average with the 93 degrees forecasted for the Great American Ballpark. Moving on to bumps, bruises, and oh my gosh, when are they going to play again? About Orioles second baseman Brian Roberts. You know, he was supposed to play yesterday. He's had some hip injuries. Gosh, if you have him, you know he's had a lot of injuries this season. But he didn't play yesterday, even though the Orioles expected him to, so we don't know when we're going to see him back in the lineup. His backup, Julio Lugo, had to leave Sunday's game because he got nailed in the head during a pickoff attempt. Well, thanks for joining us here on this Fantasy Sports Morning Report. Tune in next time, because you never know when I'll be replaced by a young lady who is bursting with talent.